Okay, we're back. And of course, you're with Seth Moore coming again to you on Anchor by Spotify. And we're going to continue with the 9 ether as we were just discussing earlier. And I'm hoping that you're really getting something out of this. And because Kings and Queens, this is so powerful. And as we were mentioning, that the DNA series that was done globally around the world, that they found with this study, renowned scientists, as I mentioned, I want to mention again, that these DNA series that they done in orangutan, a gorilla, chimpanzee, I think probably was the highest with 5. And then, of course, they did all the ethnic groups, okay? And they came up with a 6-series DNA with all the ethnic groups around the world, with the exception of the African, which had 9 series DNA, which means that is the level that is highest to creation, that is the level that is highest to the creator and to genius. And so we want to continue reading some things to you here. Firstly, when I, not as I, but EYE, say Ethiopians, which we know the Greeks name the Ethiopians, but when we say Ethiopians, I am using phonetics to display the name, of Ethiopians. Okay? And of course, we're talking about their origin. We know that Ethiopian is a Greek title, which it is, and that the original name of that land was Axum, or you could say Kush, or you could say, Kebelon, within the area of the continent, which is named Africa, which is really not the proper name either, as I just mentioned, which is Kebelon. When looking at the etymology of the word Ethiopia, we get this. 1382 from Ethiops, or Ethiopian from Greek, Ethiops, perhaps from Athene, to burn, ops, face. The quotations here, it says, Ethiops, fiery looking, later sunburnt. So we see that the root word is Ethiops, meaning to burn from. In Athens, now when we look at the etymology meaning of ether, we get 1398 from ether, and the upper peer, bright ear, from Greek, ether, upper ear, from ether, to burn, shine, from i.e. base, I to burn. Okay, so when we hear the Greeks quoting certain things, or you get the etymology of we're coming from Greeks. Remember that the Greeks, they just copied what they learned in Kemet. Okay, so of course, we'll do this for this sake, because you'll find where they give a lot of credit to the Greeks. Okay, and we know what that is. So here we see that ether means to burn, and it is the burning of gases, as I mentioned earlier, that perpetuates life through all levels of existence, like the oxygen in lungs. 9 ether is a combination of all existing gases, and thus 9 is the highest number in mathematics. Reason dictates that the highest number in mathematics coupled with all existing gases in the universe gives us 9 knowledge, 9 understanding, and 9 wisdom, which leads to 9 mind, which is true knowledge or true liberation forces. For those who are mentally dead, 9 is mathematics and 9 ether is science. Mathematics stems from the Greek word mathema, which translates as science, and science is from the Latin scientia, meaning knowledge. So you see that 9 knowledge is the highest degree of science and mathematics strictly possessed by those who have 9 ether genes. Pay attention to this, y'all. Now, before we were called Ethiopians, we were called Nubians or Nubans by the ancients. The Nubans still exist today in the land called Nuba, where they are called the first people on planet Earth. The words Ethiopian and Nuban are the same in meaning. They both mean ether, the life-giving, light-giving, burning energies that the sun produces called prominences and sunshine. The Caucasian hides words, so when looking for this name Nuber in their dictionaries, you will find Nuber hitting in the etymology meaning of the world's nuance. And then, of course, it talks about nuance 781 from nuance, slight difference, shade of color from newer to shade from new, cloud from gallow, romance, nuba from El Nubs, cloud related to Newbury, to veil from pi, and these are different sequences of this. Fog and in parentheses, and it talks about Avestan, Nuda cloud or Welsh Nud, and then it gives, of course, Nathan and Hachias, dark, dusty. So here you see Nuba meaning dark and obvious nuance to the Caucasian because they represent 6 and us, woolly-haired Ethiopians represent 9 in nature, knowledge, and the 9 and the 6 are obviously adverse forces to each other, and this is why the Caucasian never taught us that sunshine is ether, because if they had, some of us would have been able to reason out our origin many, many years ago. However, it is the Caucasians' purpose to keep Ethiopians ignorant so we can be used against ourselves and for their well-being. Just look at the entertainment industry and you will have the utmost perfect and absolute example. And these are examples, y'all. I'm telling you. And this is what I was saying in the last podcast when I was saying, and you remember me mentioning that, when I was saying how that because we're not attuned spiritually, that we're vibrating, and you find a lot of these entertainers, they're vibrating on 6 ether. They're not vibrating on 9 ether. You follow me? They're vibrating on a lower density of the universe. They're not vibrating at their highest series of 9 ether DNA. You see what I'm saying? And this is why they could be tricked. And they could be tricked with material things, and they could be tricked with money. And as we all know, in this level of existing, we do need money, okay? But to be tricked and to give up your 9 ether, so ethereal being to the beast, it's you're giving up everything in the universe that you are. And I would venture to even say that it's 9 ether beings that hold the universe together. So every time a police officer kills a 9 ether being, he's killing himself. Because you need 9 ether knowledge and science and that heat, those gases in the universe to keep the universe together. So every time you kill a 9 ether being, you are killing yourself and you are killing the children. You're killing the planet, because it's those gases that hold everything together, because 9 ether is a perfect mathematical number that holds everything together in the universe. So we'll move on. So it says, now we see that the root word of the Ethiopian is the word ether, and it means our original origin is the sun. We're sun beings. We come from the stars, because the sun is 9, and 9 ether sun produces the Ethiopian race. Makes sense? Yes, it does. We witness this adverse firsthand when the Caucasian bask in the sun and gets dark. However, this darkness fades once he or she leaves the sun and they begin to go back to being pale. On the other hand, our darkness is inherent from the sun. That is, our being, the sun's original offspring, has empowered us Ethiopians with the same powers that it has. This power to be black and produces the darkest offspring. I personally do not say black because nothing has black skin but nature, except certain cold-blooded reptiles. In other words, our skin is dark because of the melanin, which is a complete chemical carbon rooted in certain cells in our skin. Like the sun, we Ethiopians, or Patahites, offspring of Ptah, have in our reproductive system and marrow of our bones what is called sun heat genes. And these sun heat genes become part of the blood, and they emanate outward to the skin. And our sun heat genes gives off a burning energy that changes the skin to the darkest color that our species can attain. The more sun heat genes one has, the darker that person will be. Therefore, being dark skinned is being superior in color, because the suns of the multiverses are jet black, and they are superior to all universal bodies. Hence, the dark-skinned people called black is not only beautiful, but it's the best and purest of all other colors. The sun is made and Mother Earth is female. The sun is male, The sun is male and Mother Earth is female. So it's the males who give off the sun. And the sun gives off ether in the form of what is called proeminences. Let us first take a look at what proeminences are. A proeminence is a large, bright feature extending outward from the sun's surface, often in a loop configuration. Proeminences are anchored to the sun's surface in the photospheres and extend outwards into the sun's corona. Is that word corona? So here we see that a proeminence is an extension of the sun which jutes out and forms a loop configuration. This is part of the sun's antennas, so to speak, called flocculus. And an Ethiopian or Parthiite here may correctly be called flocculus. What is flocculus? Okay, we're going to find out a flocculus or floculi. One, a small fluffy moth or mass or turf. Second is an autonomy, ether of two small lobes on the lower posterior border of the cerebellum. And three, astronomy, any of various cloud-like masses of gases appearing as bright or dark patches on the surface of the sun. Etymology. Mode adem flocus, flock of wool. Wow, listen to this, y'all. So it's talking about, it's the etymology, it's a modem flocus, a flock of wool. And we know out here is a flock of wool. So here we see, using English and its many languages that it is derived from, we see that flocculus or flocculi, which is the plural, is small flock of wool, and it also is emblematic in astrology as cloud-like masses, which is in essence is the very proeminences mentioned a few sentences back with the illustration. So our woolly here looks like flocculi and may correctly sentences back, okay, and may correctly, be called flocculi. If one puts a straight strand of hair closer and closer to fire, that strand of hair will granulate. That is ball up because of the potensity of the heat. The Parthiites or Ethiopians carry his and her sun within, and we appear on the planet Earth at a time when no other race could survive in the Earth's atmosphere, because just after creation, the atmosphere was too dense and potent for the weakness of human beings called mankind. Mankind is all peoples with straight hair by nature. The Ethiopians, or so-called black race, became identified with mankind down through evolution. Moreover, the sun heat genes in those who had to live in Earth's original atmosphere had to be much stronger than those of mankind who came much later. And this time we would have appeared more black in appearance than the darkest of browns. In other words, the sun heat genes in the African pygmies were so dense and potent in their bone marrow and reproductive system that it turned the hair kinky as fire does to a straight strand of hair. Hence, woolly hair is superior to straight hair, as the suns are superior to all other universal bodies. Woolly hair by nature assures that Ethiopians that he and she are the originals on the planets, thereby the original personifications of the suns. We bigger Pataites evolved from smaller Pataites, now called the African pygmies, who live in equatorial Africa. So we see the woolly hair is sun hair called flocculus or prominences. The hair works as a solenoid in engineering does. It is a transducer device that converts energy into linear motion. So your hair follicles, I'm saying this, it's conductors, it's energy conductors with the sun, because with the gases that emanates from, that's comprised and composed of all that ether 9 that's in you and that you are, is an energy conductor. So it's like once you're here, when your hair gets the sun, your hair is an energy conductor. And that's why I said before, we can't eat what everybody else eats. We have to eat energy food. We have to eat good food, because our molecular system is comprised, our metabolic system is comprised of different things in other people. You may not think that, but it is. It is, and we're going to find this out. Okay, so it says here, I'll read that again. It said it is a transducer device that converts energy into a linear motion. The linear motion becomes rhythm in the woolly-haired race on this planet. That's why we can dance our asses off. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got swag and, everything we do. We're trendsetters. Everybody follows us. You know what I mean? That's why we the leaders, no doubt. A solenoid, and it's 1827 from solenoid or Solon pipe channel plus comb form of gridio's form shape is a three-dimensional coil in physics. The term solenoid refers to a loop of wire often wrapped around a metallic core which produces a magnetic field when an electric current is passed through it. In the instance of Ethiopians, the loop of wire is the hair follicle. Do you hear me? It is the hair follicle. Now that is powerful. As I was just saying, our hair is a conductor, an energy conductor. That's why it grows towards the sun. And it says that solenoid in physics, in the term, refers to a loop wire, often wrapped around a metallic core. I'm reading it again, which produces a magnetic field when an electric current is passed through it. In the instance of Ethiopians, the loop of wire is a hair follicle, and within it contains the gases of 9 ether, and that is what you smell when you burn the hair of an Ethiopian. You pull out one strand of our hair and you burn it with some fire. You're going to smell the ether. You're going to smell the sun. You're going to smell the ether. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, y'all don't know how bad you are, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, let's go on. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. My goodness. We see that the hair of the woolly-haired race represents the Luke 9, and thus it represents 9 in the original matter of the cosmos. You hear me? And therefore, the solenoid is a symbol of Ethiopian race originality, power, uniqueness, and identity. The number 999, or 9 to the ninth power of 9, constitutes the power that exists in the top half of the circle of space, matter, and time, and passed down through the Ethiopian race known as the Patahites. The sun is 9, and 9 is the ball, which may conveniently be drawn as the circle of the sun. That's what I'm saying. It's my goodness. In ancient times, the African pygmies was called Ptah and worshiped the personification of the original creator. The pygmies are from the sun, and we are from the pygmies, and this means that we bigger Ethiopians are the sun too. And so that name pygmies came from the Europeans, because really it's not pygmies. And when you hear the word Ptah is a better word, Patahites, because the Ptah is an African word. Okay, so, and it says here, the Ptahs are from the sun, and we are from they said pygmies, but we are from the Ptahs. And this means that we bigger Ethiopians are the sun too. We are sun people. We are sun. We're suns walking around. And so that's why we generate all this heat. And when they say the ozone layer, don't be tricked by what they're saying. They know that we are the Ptah. We are that 9 ether in the universe that is creating. We are creating the ice melt. And so this is why they are so worried, because once the polar caps begin to dissolve in the ice and all that, it's game over, because we'll be the only ones surviving on this planet, because we are the Ether 9. We are the sun. We are the Ptah. We are that divine element in the universe. We are the universe. And so this is why when they say global warming is coming from the Ptah. The global warming is the 9 ether of the Ethiopians. I hope you heard me. I hope you get this science. That's what's going on, y'all. So this is why they're worried. Oh, the polar caps are melting and the ozone layer. No, that is the 9 ether in the universe, which is you, me, and everybody that looks like us, that's emanating that energy from the follicles and the focolus in the hair, that we are that spiritual antennas. You follow what I'm saying? So here, let's move on. We are evolutionary Ptah. Evolution marks death, or the winter season in the cycle of space, matter, and time. It was Mother Earth who gave birth to our ancestors, the African Ptahs or pygmies, from the source of the Nile on the equator in Africa. The eggs of Mother Earth in the source of the Nile River was impregnated by 9 ether rays from the sun. The 9 power, like the sun, woolly hair symbolizes potency, life, and originality. The Ethiopians are the only one of the races who grows hair and his crown by nature. Woolly hair stands up like a crown, y'all. That's what it is. It's your crown. That's why I say, sisters, wear your crown. Wear your crown, brothers. Wear your crown. Let it grow. Don't cut it. Let your crown grow. And this makes the Ethiopians the natural emperors and empresses of the universe by nature. We do find Where do you find, rather, the Ethiopians or Patahites in their book called the Bible? If you look in Genesis 10:13 and the Chronicles, First Chronicles 1 and 11, you find the name Nephilim, the sons of Mesrim, and in any online research, you will pull this up. Nephilim, or Nephilim, or they say Nephuchim, or how you pronounce that, Naphtuchim, or in the Septuagint you'll find Nephilim, a son of Mesrim, which means Egypt or Kemet, because the word Mesrim in the Bible means, of course, Kemet or Egypt, which was named by the Greeks, as you know. Okay, so Genesis 10 and 13, First Chronicles 1 and 11, but according to most modern authorities, a district or a dependency of Egypt among the many efforts at identification, the following deserve notice. Nephilim, or equals one, Nephites, or Nephilims, or in the northeast of Egypt, and two, Nepah, i.e. the people of Patah, the dwellers in the neighborhood of Memphis, and three, Nephu, according to Herodotus, Nepho, which occurs okay, and it says, Ashur Banipal's annals as the name of a part of Lower Egypt, Ermin, and it goes on by the change of a letter reads Ptahim, which signifies the Northland, and Spiegelberg sees in the word an old designation of the Delta and would therefore render the name the people of the Delta compared to John. And these people are giving their synopsis on what they, believe this to be. Skinner and Holzinger on Genesis. And so, you know what? We're going to stop right there. We're going to pause, and we're going to come back with more. But I hope you guys are getting this. This is so profound and so deep. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And this is just wow, wow, wow. So stay with us, and we're going to pause for the cause, and we're going to come back. We have more for you. So don't you go nowhere.